Alright guys, it's here, the new Tom Ford Ombre Leather Parfum version. It's out, it's in this box. Unboxing, first impressions for you today. I'll do a little comparison with it as well, of it with the original. And I might come back and do a full review at a later time, but I'm not sure. We'll see. This is the video probably I'll do right now. And I've also done reviews of the original Ombre Leather from 2016, which was in the Private Blend collection, then the 2018 version, which is in this bottle, and now we have the new Ombre Leather. So if you want to find out about this, then please stay tuned. Thanks so much for tuning in. This is Sebastian with Smelling Great Fragrance Reviews. Yes, are you anticipating Ombre Leather Parfum? I know some people are, because I received so many messages. When are you going to review it? When are you going to review it? It's like, I don't have it yet. So my store here that I would buy from, Neiman Marcus, didn't have it. But I contacted my sales associate that I mentioned a couple days ago, Colleen, and I paid for 2-day shipping. And I ordered it on Tuesday. It arrived, I think it was Tuesday, Monday or Tuesday, and arrived 2 days, 3 days later. And they were having a gift card promotion. Spend $200, get a $50 gift card for a future purchase. So I took advantage of that. This is $205, and I'm excited to find out about it. Let's see what they've done with it. But before I get to the fragrance, if this is your first time tuning into the channel and you still haven't subscribed, please do click the subscribe button below, and also click the bell so that you'll be notified for future videos and giveaways. I'm going to read you a quick couple of quotes as well, one from Tom Ford, one basically about the fragrance. A distinct floral leather, Ombre Leather Parfum intensifies the original scent, fusing heated leather florals with woods. This perfume merges black leather with powerful violet leaf and sensual cedarwood laced with a hint of green tobacco, capturing the unbridled sensuality of the American West. So that is a quote that I found online, and this quote is from Tom Ford. Some scents explicitly capture real aspects of my life. For example, every note of Ombre Leather is connected to the American West of my childhood. The parfum builds on the wild, unbridled sensuality of the original scent. It is a heightened expression. So that's what it says about Tom Ford's Ombre Leather Parfum. Got my little slicer here. This is what cut me the other day. So I'm going to be very careful. I'm not used to this one as much as I was used to something else that I had that I was using. It kind of finally broke. But don't need to use it too much. So let's see. But let me know while I'm opening this up, how many of you are fans of Ombre Leather? Did you have it in the version that was in the Private Blend when they launched it in 2016 for a special event that Tom Ford had put out? They launched it, and then it was kind of shelved. 2 years later, after its launch, they launched this one. So now we have 3 years later. So we have it in here. Similar box to the other. Obviously, this has this new kind of a stamp or thing that highlights it. It's a parfum, but I'm expecting something a little different. When they mention violet leaves and fragrances, it's kind of ozonic. So they do mention violet leaf absolute. So let's see how it changes this fragrance. I don't recall violet leaf being in the original, but maybe I just don't remember seeing it. But this is a 2021 launch, 100 ml, $205. The original is $190. So it's only $15 more to get the parfum. Does it last longer? I don't know. It doesn't say it's eau de parfum, it just says parfum. Sometimes they do a little misleading things with calling a fragrance parfum, and then it turns out the concentration is still eau de parfum, such as Le Mal Parfum, which later we figured out that it was eau de parfum. So in this case, it doesn't say eau de parfum anywhere on the box. It does say parfum. So it's parfum concentration. So generally, also for me, parfum concentrations are just more intense versions of the original fragrance. This seems like it's been changed up as well. So let's see how it is. So basically what I'm going to do is, once I open this box up, I'm going to spray it here, smell it. First I'm going to spray it on a strip, and then I'm going to spray the other one on the other arm, and then pause the video and come back and let you know about the fragrance. I'm not talking about performance. Some of you were complaining that I didn't discuss performance on Dior Homme Parfum. I wasn't talking about performance in that video, mostly about scent. Same thing with this video. I don't usually want to discuss performance because people's body chemistries are different. Everybody experiences fragrances differently, and I kind of bring this up all the time. One of you says it lasts a long time, I say it doesn't, and then vice versa. You say it doesn't last a long time, I say it does. So it's kind of confusing. All chemistry is different. Everybody gets different performance. So I usually don't like to talk about performance in reviews. So this is the new model right here in the Parfum version. As you can see, it's a little different. I think they should have done it the other way around. Since Parfum is darker, more intense, the bottles should have been reversed, but I don't think they could have done that to change up everything. So we do have this. And then the Parfum is right under here. And of course it's the white seal there. So let's see what it says under here. It does not say Eau de Parfum, it does say Parfum. So let's go ahead and smell it. This is exactly what we're getting, a Parfum version, not Eau de Parfum like the Lamel Parfum, which later turned out to be Eau de Parfum. If you've ever noticed that, go check it out. So this is a little different. I definitely am getting, you know, is it really intensified? For me, let me tell you about what Violet Leaves as a note. Violet Leaves is ozonic. So there's a watery, crunchy, crisp quality to Violet Leaves. In this, it kind of doesn't make it much more intense, at least smelling it off the strip. I also, when I first sprayed it, I did get Jasmine Sambac. So the notes in here, according to my research, are black leather, violet leaf absolute, cedarwood, iris, green tobacco, Jasmine Sambac. So as soon as I sprayed it, it did come up, the Jasmine, but it reminded me of the original fragrance to begin with, which also kind of reminds me of Tuscan leather. I'm not experiencing something a lot more intense than the original. So there is that going for it, but I'm just smelling it off the strip. Let's go ahead and spray the other one, the original, on the strip real quickly. Then I'll do a side-by-side arm tests. See, for me, the original is a lot darker. Very, very interesting that they call this a more darker version. Isn't that what he said in his quote? Maybe not. Maybe I just got that. But for me, I get more darker experience. Not as intense as the new one. The new one does seem a little more intense, but it's brighter. And the original seems a lot darker and deeper. A little more subdued though. So now we're going to go ahead and spray them on my hands. Let's try this. 3 sprays there. 3 there. Also, one more thing that you guys should notice that's different is the caps right there. So they've kind of highlighted it with the white. Interesting. I'm not sure I really like this as much as I like the original. On me, the original smells much better. Wow. I'm not sure about this. I mean, it's not a bad fragrance, but when I have the original here, that smells really good, because I think Tom Ford's Ombre Leather in the original concentration smells really good. It's a great leather. Why would they go and change it up with this? Okay, I'm going to pause the video now. I'm going to come back to you and let you know how the fragrance is settling and things like that. I won't talk to you about performance, but compared to both together, I much prefer the original over the new one, even though the new one seems a little more intense. But we'll pause here. Okay, now that I've been wearing the two side by side, the new Parfum version on this hand, the original Eau de Parfum version on this hand, I'm noticing differences. As I said earlier, when I first sprayed this one, the Parfum version, I didn't really care for the smell. But eventually, when the fragrance dried down, I started enjoying it. And I did notice that it is a lot louder than this one. And when I first sprayed this one, I mentioned that this was a lot subdued in comparison to this one. So first off, that is a great thing. It is a little louder. It screams a little louder in comparison to the original. But I'm not caring for the initial blast of this fragrance as much as I like the initial blast of this fragrance. But in the end, this does settle to a great smelling fragrance, but not caring for the original spray. So what I would like to say is I don't understand why they decided to add Violet Leaf Absolute in this particular fragrance. If they want to intensify this fragrance and make it a parfum, why not add something like a resin? A resin would make it a lot more deeper, richer, and more intense to me than something ozonic, like a note that creates this ozonic quality. I'm not 100% sure that they are adding Violet Leaf Absolute, but that brightness seems like it is. It does have a hint of like the flower of violets, but mostly the leaves note in contrast with the black leather. So when you first spray it, I don't care for that initial blast. I don't like it as much as this, but eventually it becomes a great fragrance. But I wish they added something different. Another thing I want to say is when they're creating a parfum version of this, why not stick to the original formula and make it smell, like it is, not change the way it smells, and then add, notes that might make it, or do some kind of a magic laboratory trick to intensify the fragrance. Maybe perhaps they can't do that, but I've noticed with Tom Ford fragrances that, for example, Tom Ford Oud Wood, and then the more intense version of that, they changed the smell. It went very animalic. Same thing with Tuscan Leather and Tuscan Leather Intense. They made a different smelling fragrance. So here, that's kind of what I'm experiencing with this as well. They made something that smells alike, but also smells different at the same time. When you've worn a fragrance like this so much, you know the fragrance, you recognize it, but when you put something like this, you will notice the difference, if that makes sense. Maybe you don't, but some of you who wear fragrances do know when a fragrance smells different than what you've been experiencing and wearing. And I definitely notice a difference between the two. Eventually they do become similar, and as I said, the parfum kind of gets better for me. Initial blast is not great, while the eau de parfum is becoming very resinous and gummy and powdery and hardly there. I'm still smelling the parfum version, and at this point I think it smells great. So what would I do with these two? I like both, and I'm having issues with both. So the problems I have, as I said, is the initial blast here, and with this one when it's phasing away or fading away. So I guess what I would do is layer the two together and have some kind of more of a nuclear experience perhaps with the two. I don't know, but the original is still my first love. Maybe, when I was wearing a lot more, I felt like the fragrance was a lot more intense. Maybe the current versions of this has been reformulated and it's kind of watered down, or maybe my nose is just burnt out on this smell and it's not smelling it as much as it should. So maybe that's what they're doing. Do brands kind of water down fragrances so they launch a parfum version and give us something like this? I don't know what they're doing, but I like both and I don't like both, if that makes sense. I still think, though, the original is still a favorite of mine. I love its initial blast. I love the wearing experience. It just seems like it has gotten a little lighter, and that's why we're having a parfum version of the original fragrance. I just wish that initial blast was great, otherwise it would be a really great fragrance. Now, you guys might think it's great. You might also think there's not a lot of difference between the two. You will notice it if you have really studied this fragrance, or some of you might not notice much difference. Again, there's not too much difference, and some of you will say there's hardly any difference there, but I'm definitely picking up a lot of differences between the two, even though it still smells somewhat similar to the original fragrance. So those are my initial thoughts with these two and how they compare. I'm not comparing with, I'm not doing performance, I'm not talking about the performance as much, but with the time I had the camera on pause, I noticed that there was a difference. This one did fizzle away a lot faster than this. And this started smelling really, really great. So I don't think it's a bad fragrance. I just wish that they somehow turned the original into more of a powerhouse, which it was initially, but it has become a little lighter now. I'm noticing it in comparing the two together. Anyway, those are my thoughts today on Tom Ford's Ombre Leather Parfum. What are your thoughts about this fragrance? Have you tried it yet? It is selling at Neiman Marcus. I don't know if Neiman Marcus is going to have their $50 gift card event tomorrow, but there was a gift card event that I got with this one. It was spend $200 and get a $50 gift card, but the only deal with this, the issue with this gift card promo is it takes them like 8 to 12 weeks to send you the card, so you do have to wait. But if you shop there all the time, you can keep it for the next shopping event you do there or something like that. But maybe the event will be over by then. But either way, check it out. Maybe go smell it in store. Our store, Neiman Marcus here, didn't have it yet, but I'm sure by the time this video launches, they might have it in store. Who knows? I don't know. But I also noticed that Sephora is selling this one as well currently. I didn't see it at any other places like Macy's or Saks or Nordstrom and things like that. But hopefully you guys get your noses on it and see what you experienced. Do you see any differences, similarities, you know, performance differences? Let me know. Put a comment down if you do. Other than that, guys, thanks so much for tuning in today to watch my first impressions unboxing of Ombre Leather Parfum. If you have any questions or comments, please do list below. Please like this video, please share it, follow me on Facebook, Twitter, and Instagram, and I'll be back with more videos very soon. Have a good one. Goodbye. So I wanted to also add a few more notes here with this particular fragrance. As I shot the second part of this video and I did my end, I noticed that the fragrance is going in waves. There's some stuff with this fragrance, it goes up and down. So there's parts of it I'm liking and parts of it I'm not liking. But in the end, it's kind of reminding me a little bit of white patchouli. I don't know if you guys ever have smelled white patchouli from Tom Ford. I'm getting that here with the new one. I'm not sure why, but the original did have patchouli, but they're not noting or crediting patchouli in the new one. But for some reason, I'm getting like hints of white patchouli, which I really, really loved from Tom Ford. If any of you have tried it, let me know. But that's only in the dry down. Only in the dry down, not in the top when you first spray it. Which I like. I like this part about it. And it's kind of a fun thing. Whereas with the original, it's still kicking. It kind of goes in waves the same way. It kind of like projects and then it kind of like dies down and then comes back again. And I'm noticing a little more of a fruitiness. I guess the raspberry idea comes to mind with this one. So both of them are good. I just don't like the initial blast of the new one, but it gets better. And again, I think layering the two might be even better. If you have both and you want something a little more intense, I think they will smell great. And I'm really, really digging the fact that this is reminding me of white patchouli. I'm not sure where I'm getting that, but maybe one of you that knows this fragrance and tests out the new Tom Ford Ombre Leather Parfum will let me know. Anyway, thanks so much. Have a good one. Bye.